Welcome to the Wedding Obsessed podcast designed to help you plan your dream day. I'm your host, Adriana, and each week I'm joined by the wedding industry's top professionals, celebs, influencers, and friends who share tips, trends, advice, and mistakes they've made so you don't have to. This is the Prenup Podcast. Planning a bachelorette party is tricky business for a multitude of reasons. Number one, it just takes a ton of research, planning, organization. Number two, getting everyone on the same page is nearly impossible, especially when you have people of different groups coming in. Budgets are not aligned, maybe priorities, preferences aren't aligned. So it would be really nice to have someone just plan it for you. On today's episode, we have Avery and Jolie, who are the founders of Bach Boss, a completely customizable and personalized bachelor party planning service. Specifically, they focus on throwing these killer, amazing bachelorette parties. They do lots of high profile group travel. An exciting one will be Olivia Culpo's, which will have happened last weekend by the time this airs, which is really exciting. Jolie and Avery have tons of connections really all over the world. So it makes planning your event really simple, really fun, really high end. They're determined to make your bachelorette or bachelor party as fabulous as possible. Welcome to the podcast, Avery and Jolie of Bach Boss. Do you have any fun bachelorette parties coming up that you guys are really looking forward to?
We do. I'll take that one, Avery. We actually have a really high profile one happening this weekend, which we're super excited about. Now we can announce it because by the time it comes out, it will be done with. But we're doing Olivia Culpo.
Shut up.
Which is Christian McGaffrey's for the guys that may be listening.
I don't have any male listeners.
Okay, so for all the girls. So it's this weekend in Cabo. And that one we've been working really closely with her on. And it's going to be really exciting. So follow along on social. But we leveraged a lot of our partners in Cabo to just make sure that it was like super over the top and special for her.
I am so excited for you guys. Something I was going to ask you later is there anyone that you would love to plan for? And that was someone that came into my mind right away. I was like, that would be an awesome bachelorette party to do. She's so fabulous. So that'll be in Cabo.
Yeah.
Okay. And about how many people are attending that?
It's about 15 girls, right, Avery?
Yeah, 15.
Yeah.
A lot of other high profile people attending as well. So it should be pretty iconic. Going to be great content.
Yeah.
Girls, I'm so excited for you. That's going to be amazing. I will definitely be following along. Have you had anything in the past that you've really loved? Anything that you're kind of, drawing inspo from?
We've had a lot of really successful trips so far. Like I think some of our best trips have actually been in Miami.
Okay.
We have a lot of strong partners there that have been just going really, really well. So a lot of our clients that have been leveraging those experiences have been really, really happy. That being said, we keep, really expanding our demographic, and now all of a sudden we're planning like these golf trips like in places that we don't typically plan. And we're really just expanding kind of what we do and not limiting it to just bachelorette parties, but doing a lot more birthday trips, reunions, golf trips, guys trips,
any type of group travel essentially.
Amazing.
Exactly. So like really niche and curated groups.
Amazing. Well, we have so much to get into. So with that said, I want to just pop right into the main event. So you ladies are the founders, CEOs of Bach Boss, and there's a lot of different companies that do things like, merch and decor and even organizational services for bachelorette parties. But your business is very custom. It's very personal. What sets it apart? What is so special about Bach Boss?
So Jolie and I, we actually had the idea being co-maid of honors, planning our best friend's bachelorette trip in Miami, and realized like how good we were. We were like whipping out an Excel spreadsheet and everything. And we kind of joked that like this could be a full-time job.
Yeah.
And that's why we decided to get ours. And one of our competitive advantages is that we've been to the majority of the top cities in the country, or just even the ones that are like in Mexico or St. Bart's, whatever. And we have a lot of great partners. And we also kind of joke that we are the people that like you would want at your bachelorette, like were your friends that like you wish that you had and things like that. And we'll get on meetings with certain clients and they'll just be like, you guys get it. Like I don't need to give you much direction. Like you get it.
Totally. They probably want you guys to like come along. Planning the bachelorette party now in today's day and age, it's an event in and of itself. So it's a huge take on, and having someone do that for you or have that big hand in it is almost essential for certain parties, right?
100%. 70% of bachelorette trips are now these 3-day long weekends. And we kind of say it's like herding sheep, especially for the guys. So, we like to be that third party that can kind of, no one wants to disappoint the bride, no one wants to disappoint the groom. So we like to think of ourselves as like also like a logistics company and just kind of make everything seamless so you all show up and stress-free.
Totally, yeah. And, there's apps like, Jolie and I, when we first chatted, we were talking about, Batch app a little bit. And, that's great for keeping things organized. But then you're still doing all of the research. You're still, like you said, herding sheep. You're kind of having to do all of these extraneous things. And yes, for getting everyone on the same itinerary, it's great. But people want a really niche experience and they want to go to the best restaurants and they want to have the best activities. And like you said, if you haven't been there before, it's nearly impossible to get that kind of experience without a service like yours.
100%.
Having Batch app is easy for really relaying information, but not so much planning because you want a very special experience.
I think one of the main differentiators between us and like a different type of company, for instance, like the Batch app, is they're not a planning service. Really, that's the difference. So it's one thing to understand like vendors and cities and get recommendations. It's another thing to have a really curated weekend mapped out for you. With everything booked and with preferred rates and discounts. Mm-hmm. That's where we come in. And with other companies in the space that do planning services, it's not to the extent of the services that we provide. A lot of companies that you'll see out there specialize in one location, maybe 2 locations or 3.
Right.
Avery and I work globally. No matter the location, we'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. We work with people all over the world to really curate these seamless luxury experiences. So if, people have an idea of what they want and are willing to spend the money for it, we can make sure that they get anything that they want. Like we always joke, like the sky is the limit. Tell us what you want. We make it happen.
I love it. So I was talking yesterday with my cousin and we were just kind of speaking about the way that bachelorette parties have migrated over the last 10, 15 years. So when I got into the business 10 years ago, they were pretty extravagant. We're starting to go on those trips. And I think it kind of started with people go to Vegas for their bachelorette parties, but there are so many other places we can go. And, having like, I know Avery, you grew up on Bravo. Do you guys watch any Bravo at all?
Jolie watches more Bravo than I do, but we definitely got into Vanderpump Rules as like the scandal and we were on Watch What Happens Live. So we got to hang out with Tom Schwartz. So I started watching a little bit.
Yeah, it completely took the world by storm. So really quickly, I don't know whether you're able to talk about this or not, but I would think so because it's, pretty public. But you did Lindsay from Summer House's, I guess it was a non-bachelorette party by that point.
Yes, it was a bachelorette trip that we were working on with her and her close friends for a bit. And I actually saw her at Surf Lodge like the week prior, and I met her in person, ran into like we've worked with Kyle Cook for from Summer House for Loverboy with Bach Boss stuff. So I saw her, I met Carl, was really excited to, introduce ourselves and talk about her bachelorette. And then obviously a few days later that news broke. So we were just kind of on standby with whatever her and her friends wanted to do. And then they decided they still wanted to go and make it a girls trip. And we just, same itinerary, just, a little bit different.
Yeah. The way you pivoted, I think, was really fabulous. They looked like they had such a good time still. And of course, bachelorette parties are about pre-wedding, but I think
the more important thing is kind of what we were talking about. It's a bonding experience of girlfriends, and you turn lemons into lemonade. I think it was really beautifully done. It looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. So, on something like Vanderpump or, any of the housewives, like they'll always do these trips. And I think that's kind of the inspiration for a lot of people. It was the first time that we were seeing people in real life have these extravagant trips and them being documented. So it gave people these kind of fun ideas, like maybe we could do this or maybe we could do that, go there, have a fun theme. So I think a few things, but that definitely was the impetus for having these more extravagant parties and even going to some different destinations. Just kind of on the topic of destinations, we see a lot of the same places, and for good reason. They're fun, right? But are there any destinations that you guys particularly love or are seeing on the horizon for bachelor or bachelorette parties?
International or domestic or both?
Ooh, both, yeah.
So for domestic, we'd say like we love the Hamptons, we love West Palm Beach. Vegas will always be a classic.
Yeah.
And then in terms of international, we're big fans of Mexico. So like Cabo, Tulum are definitely some of our favorites. Jolie, she actually had her bachelorette in Cabo.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I absolutely love Cabo. I think it's a great destination. It is a bit farther if you're coming, from like the East Coast. Like all my friends were flying from New York.
Sure.
So it's a bit more of a trip. But that being said, it's a trip that I think is worth it. Cabo, it definitely has that more luxury feel, like an extension of California. And it's I think it's different than other areas of Mexico, but you still get like that, fun Mexico experience at the same time. And just the West Coast, it's a cool vibe. And I actually hadn't been there prior. And I just heard great things about it. And it was important that I went there because now so many of our trips are there.
Oh my
so
gosh.
it was a good scout trip, you could say.
Absolutely. Yeah. So had Batch Boss been in effect? I know it was recently that you got married, Jolie, relatively recently. Had Batch Boss been started at that point?
Really, we had begun ideating about last November,
Okay.
I would say. It really came to fruition in December. We set up the bank account in January. We hard launched in February.
Okay.
So really, we've been in business less than a year, which is crazy to think about.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah.
It is wild because you've done so much, and anyone who doesn't follow your social, we'll link everything so that they can find it. But you really have, it's incredible to think that in a year, that's what you've done. But did you girls plan your bachelorette party, Jolie?
It was really my sister that helped a lot with my bachelorette. But looking back, she really did a great job. But she always jokes that it would have been so helpful to have a service like Batch Boss because it's very time consuming, especially for someone that works to take the time out of their day and to plan. It takes months and months of coordination.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anyone that I've planned, and, I do wedding planning for a living, and it's similar, but it's different. It's a lot of times a 3-day event, and it's riddled with all different sorts of activities. So it's a different kind of planning. And I've loved the ones that I've done, but I would be lying if I said it wasn't really hard work, and I would have loved your service to have done it for me had it been around at the time. So it certainly makes things not just easier, but so much more elevated. And that's I think what people really resonate with you guys. You're having this really fun, unique experience and different excursions than you might have been planning initially. So as far as those types of excursions go, is there anything that you think is just a staple on a bachelor or bachelorette party, or something, really different and fun that you think people should do?
Definitely. So we love when our groups can stay in a house or an Airbnb, just especially if they are larger. It's a great way to kind of all be together and just have some downtime. We love for the last night a chef night. We think that like nothing sucks more than going back on a Sunday or a Monday and being tired or hungover or whatever it is. So we always recommend to our groups a chef night the last night. We also love, potentially if people are into fitness, like a private yoga instructor coming to the house, or like a salsa dance teacher if they're in Cabo. And we love a good party bus as well.
Ooh, yes, that is so fun. I think anything where you're traveling all together. Another thing that's so annoying is, especially with big groups, trying to figure out transportation. How are we getting to the bar? How are we getting to dinner? But having everyone travel together, and you can kind of maybe like have a little champagne on the party bus.
100%. Yeah. We think it's fun to be like a surprise as well, for if, either if the bride doesn't know or the group doesn't know. So it's kind of like, you think you're getting an Uber, and then all of a sudden it's like a big party bus that's taking you to dinner and like bar hopping or a club or whatever it is.
That is so fun. Do you ever have, that just made me think of it, like as a surprise to the bride, do you ever have brides reach out to you themselves and say like, I want to kind of pay for this planning service, and then we'll pay for these other things collectively? I think that's really underrated and huge to talk about, because it is the bride's bachelorette party. And as much as her sisters, girlfriends may know her really well, I think it's important that they're doing kind of not necessarily everything she wants. That sounds so bridezilla, but that she's really having a good time. It's like her last single hurrah,
Yeah, we like to say that you can give the gift of Bach Boss to your maid of honor.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good one. Do you do gift cards and things like that?
I mean, we can. We haven't yet, but it's kind of like however, we're open to however people like want to use our services. We've done a bunch of fun giveaways and collaborations with other brands for like gifting our services. We're definitely going to do one for the end of the year for 2024 brides.
Ooh, exciting. Everyone must stay tuned for that. That's awesome. Ladies, what about themes? Because that is so huge when it comes to specifically bachelorette parties. I always laugh, the guys, they don't take it serious with the themes. I just want to like get in there, and I know they would have a better time and a better bonding experience, because it's fun. It's something to talk about and laugh about. So are there any themes that you're really loving right now?
Yeah, I mean, you never can go wrong with a glitz and glam. Like, I think that's such a classic. It's so much fun for the girls. One that Avery and I created was a green with envy one, which we love. Different shades of green. We love like Bond Girl for a boat day. But some of our brides have been really creative, like in terms of their vision and what they want. But yeah, those are like a few like tried and true that you can't go wrong with.
And for our clients, we always create mood boards. So we'll do like a customized itinerary, and then let's say there's multiple themes for the night. There's multiple themes for the weekend. We'll have multiple mood boards. So for example, for Olivia, there's 4 different mood boards that we're doing for different like dinners, nights out, boat, etc. for the group to kind of get the vibe.
Oh, obsessed. Yeah. And that's another thing too. It can be multiple themes. It doesn't have to just be, okay, we're sticking to like cowgirl all weekend. We can switch it up, and that makes planning your outfits fun and your different activities.
Yeah. 100%.
Definitely. Yeah, when my sister planned mine, and I'm a big Cher fan, and she did, what was it? It was the farewell tour, and she put my face on Cher's body and had all these really like funny t-shirts and itinerary setups. And then my husband, we're both raised Catholic. We had the Catholic mass, the whole 9. One of his groomsmen did the Last Supper, which I thought was so funny. And people, they're like, oh, you shouldn't say like your last this or that, but it's just your last single event. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have fun for the rest of your life. It's just a time to get together with your crew and really bond.
Exactly. Yeah, we feel the same way.
Yeah. So how do you guys feel about, I ask this question a lot, but how do you feel about joint bachelorette parties, just on a personal level?
We love them. We're actually doing one in Cabo next year. I think it depends especially if the couple met in high school or college or share a lot of friends, it just can be really fun for everyone. But definitely it's important to do like one night, just girls, just the guys, to kind of be able to have some separation.
Yeah. I think that's a good point too, because I always lean like, no, they should be separate. But if it is a group of friends and everyone's tight, like that makes total sense. But if I'm going on a girlfriend's and I don't know her fiance well and his friends, I'm like, who are these people? I just want to like hang with my girls. But you're right. If it is a group of people who've known each other, it just depends always. So ladies, I want to segue into just a funny question. So whether you've been planning for Bach Boss or whether it's been personal, do you have any wild, funny stories, anything crazy that's happened on Bachelor or Bachelorette trips?
Avery, I'll let you take that one.
We've gotten some interesting requests for sure.
Okay.
Jolie talks about one client who she had her bachelorette in Lake Como, and she, wanted to do a pasta making class on a boat. Very like niche request.
Yeah.
Definitely was difficult to figure that out. We get people like day of want to get, a male dancer performer at their hibachi dinner. So just like little funny things.
That sounds like a safety hazard.
Really nothing like crazy. Yeah, it could be.
But it is fun. And that's kind of the crux of what we're talking about. How else are you going to get a pasta making class on a boat and Lake Como? And it doesn't happen. Did you end up doing it?
Wasn't possible.
Yeah. I wouldn't think so. It's very, very, very niche.
It doesn't make sense. It should be like at the house or at a venue, like, and then just enjoy the boat.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like you want to really soak in the weekend and not put too much pressure or like really busy yourself too much. You want to enjoy every second. And that's another thing too, that just on bachelorette parties generally, a lot of times people will try to fill every second with an activity or an excursion. And it's nice to kind of plan maybe a little bit of downtime. These are vacations for your friends and or family as well. So, think about the fact that maybe they'll be a little bit tired.
Yeah, downtime is extremely important, and it's something we always take into consideration when we're planning the weekend, because sometimes, the group or the bride, whoever, they want to do all of these things, and it's just like, let's be realistic. Like, it's important to take a second. Not everything also needs to be like a drinking activity or eating out. It's a great way to save money if you do like, just cook breakfast at the house one day, or just easy like grab and go, and just allow some free time, especially when there are larger groups. It's really important to like take a second to decompress.
Definitely. I'm 30 and I still have friends getting married, but I don't want to, be ageist, but you get to a certain point in your life where you've done a lot and you've seen a lot and you want to still do fun things, but you also want to relax a little bit too. So I think, in the early 20s, I did have a couple friends get married then, but it's much more common to get married, when you're a little bit older, late 20s, early mid 30s. I think the average age of marriage is 30. So, you have to take that into consideration too. Like we're not 19, 20, 21 anymore. We can't do some of the things that we did in the past.
Right. And also some of the group, some of the women are pregnant or they just had a baby. So it's definitely being mindful of those dynamics as well.
Shout out to the girls who are coming pregnant, like such troopers. I don't know how they're doing it. Really takes a lot. So there is always some kind of like, I don't want to call it drama, but I'm sure you hear stories of your brides and, people not being on the same page with things, or even different group members. Like maybe, you're having a cousin and someone from college, someone from childhood. Maybe they're not all on the same page about what you should be doing. Do you have any recommendations for kind of getting everyone in alignment?
So we do a group survey, which we love. They can be totally customizable. So let's say, maybe it's let's poll for a boat day or a beach day, things like that. and where people can also add in suggestions of, what is your budget potentially for the weekend, not including transportation or, anything else that you want to add. And if this is like an anonymous feedback survey that we collect and we show to whoever's planning. So I think that, us being a third party, we can kind of talk to, the maid of honor or the bride, whoever's planning it, and being like, this is what the group wants. This is what's realistic. Like, this boat day, this is not really within budget. Are you going to subsidize for that? Like, money is extremely awkward. And that was another big reason why we started this company, is just to be mindful of people's budgets and circumstances, and kind of be that third party that avoids the fight.
That is huge too, because I don't like to say the bad guy, but like someone kind of has to be the bad guy when it comes to collecting or making executive decisions. And I mean, if you're not using your service, it's someone who's there. So it just creates this unnecessary tension. Whereas, using your service, you can kind of filter through. So I do want to talk about a little bit different options, because you have tiers, right, for the way you can book?
Bronze, silver, gold. Now we just added platinum. It's their one-time service fees. And really the level is how involved you want us to be. So bronze is for someone who has, let's say, never been to Austin, but they kind of want, some recommendations. They want help. So we'll do a survey. We'll map out options A, B, C, D, but we don't book anything. Silver is when we start booking, where we start booking the reservations, activities. We have our Bach Boss partnerships that start to get activated, and we recommend accommodations. Gold is really where the bells and the whistles come into play. So it's decor, it's swag, it's transportation, it's handling the money payments if you want us to, invoice everyone separately for certain things. And then we recently just added platinum, where we can come on site, a Bach Boss team member. Think of us as like a wedding coordinator for the weekend, but for a bachelorette trip.
I love it.
So we're there to physically stock the fridge, be able to do any, things that you might need last minute for a grocery run, content creation. We just added also lookbook custom styling. So we're able to kind of plan all of your outfits. We do a welcome bar setup. Really just like everything and more.
It's genius. It's something that has not been done that I've seen. I mean, I know that there are services that help, but not to that extent. And it is such a piece of the wedding now. So, I talk a lot about wedding wardrobe, and it's not just wedding day, it's wedding events. So everything, wants to be cohesive. And, you mentioned content creation a little bit. Everything surrounding the wedding has a part to play. So I don't want to say perfection, but people want, hassle-free planning when it comes to these things, because planning a wedding is stressful enough regardless of how much help you have. But to have someone come in and really like assist you with that styling and be there on site so that your girls can be present. Like, they don't want to be, taking the TikToks of you. They want to be hanging out with you and enjoying.
Yeah. Thank you. We love it.
Yeah. So ladies, before I let you go, I end every episode with what we call an after party. So they're just kind of 4 fun questions. And if we want to go in order, just because in my line of vision, it's Avery and Jolie, we can go that way. That's all right with you guys?
Okay.
Question number 1 is, what is your top recommended honeymoon destination? Or in this case, if you want to do Bachelorette, we could switch it up.
For Bachelorette, I would say international, Cabo. I would say domestic, probably the Hamptons or West Palm Beach.
Okay. How about you, Jolie?
And Jolie can take the honeymoon.
Yeah. I would say I agree with Avery there. I would also say for domestic, like Miami, Vegas, because just can't go wrong.
Totally.
And I'd also probably throw like Cartagena and Tulum in there for international, and Bahamas. That's just been such a great one.
Yeah.
For honeymoon, I love South Africa.
Ooh.
Like, I think that's such a special destination. Or, like if you've never been to Asia, doing like a Thailand trip, could be really special.
Oh yeah. Where did you go, Jolie?
We went to South Africa and did Cape Town, the Winelands, and Safari.
Oh, it's probably so fabulous. It sounds amazing.
It was amazing. Wish I could go back.
Oh.
Maybe one day.
Definitely. Next question, ladies. What is your dream wedding cake flavor?
I had at my wedding like a lemon cake, which is so up my alley. Like it was so fresh for summer, so delicious with like vanilla glaze. So I thought that was perfect.
Oh, it sounds...
I don't know about Avery's.
Mine, I don't know, just basic vanilla, I guess.
Okay, love it. What about a song that you need to hear at a wedding?
A wedding song. Anything that gets people dancing. Like, you know, you got to go with the classics. Like, I love when bands play 90s music at a wedding. Love like a Beyonce or a Bruno Mars moment. Like, I just think that stuff gets people on the dance floor.
So fun. Avery, how about you?
Love a good Taylor Swift that gets the crowd going. I'm Juliet. What's the song called?
Love Story.
Love
it. I'm a big Taylor fan.
I literally sing it all the time, and I'm blanking on what the song was called.
It's so romantic. I love that one. All right, ladies. And then last question for you is, if you could impart one piece of wisdom to any couple getting married, what would it be?
I would say like really try and live in the moment and like take in the day because it goes by super fast. And just focus on your significant other. Because like the day is about you two combining and, you know, celebrating like your love. So you just have to make sure that you're like focused on each other and you're not too caught up in like the guests and like all the details, and just like really try and relax and enjoy the day.
For sure.
Yeah, I would just say, especially for like when you're at your wedding day, just to be extremely present and put your phone away because everyone else will be taking content for you.
That's a huge one. And also like everyone, you know, if you're having a big wedding, is there. Like, who are you talking to at your wedding?
Right.
Ladies, this was so great. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And where can everyone find Bach Boss and you?
You can follow me personally, Avery Singer, at Avery Singer.
You can follow me at Jolie Lauren _.
And you can follow Bach Boss at Bach Boss _ on Instagram, and at the Bach Bosses plural on TikTok.
Amazing. Thank you so much, girls.
Thank you so much for listening to the episode today. Please like, review, rate, subscribe, follow, whatever the things are. It's really, really helpful. If you do support us, there's something in it for you too. You'll have the opportunity to win a free prenup bridal prep planner. We give one away every month. I have the directions on how to do that below, so make sure you check that out. Thank you again for listening. Happy planning. See you next Wednesday.